the landing strip. The Word is a place for the presence of God to come in and light upon, because He will light upon His Word. He said, I'll never leave you, never forsake you, but I'm going to always be with you, even closer than a brother. That's what He said. Go with me to the book of Numbers, 13th chapter, for just a minute. Over in the book of Numbers, when you get there, somebody say yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Look over to somebody and say, you know what, if it wasn't for you, well, tell them, I can even tell them out. If it wasn't for you, I'd be the best looking one here tonight.
I can't find it.
Woo! You know what? I didn't have to say that to nobody. Are you there in Numbers yet? You know this story, and so I'm not going to take time to tell you the whole story, but verse 25, it says, and they returned from searching of the land after 40 days. You know, they sent out the spies. And the Bible said in verse 28 that nevertheless, the people be strong. See, they came back with a good report, but they said, but nevertheless, you know, that just seems like that. I preach that nevertheless as a positive, but it seems like we've allowed it to become a negative. It seems like, you know, well, I don't know. Nevertheless, I don't know whether we're going to make it or not. You know, but I'm here to tell you that we are going to make it. Because God said we're going to make it. Let me tell you, I've read the back of the book, and it says we win. It says we win. There may be a struggle. There may be a trial. There may be things that we go through. What my sister was talking about it, and I understand and I know those things. I've been through some areas. Brother Jerry's been through some areas. We know what it is to have those things come against us in our lives, come against our families.
Oh, yeah. Amen.
Nevertheless, he said, you know, there's some people up there that's big. And so they got walls around the city. Verse 29 said, the Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and the coast of Jordan. What's this? In verse 30, you remember what Brother Jerry's been preaching tonight? In verse 30, he said, and Caleb, come on, somebody, help me. Caleb sealed the people. And he said, let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. David said, I've never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging for bread. If you are a part of His seed, if you are a part of the family of God, let me tell you something, you don't have anything to worry about. You really don't. You really don't. I mean, let me tell you, I have people all the time, especially flying too much. I mean, at one time I was flying 100, 150, 200,000 miles a year, and I had, every time I'd come back home, I had this guy, he'd always walk up to me and said, what are you going to do when those planes crash? And I look at him and say the same thing every time, because he said the same thing to me. I said, well, if it goes down, I go up. If it goes down, I go up. That's the way I look at it. I've been on some white knuckle flights. I'm telling you what, I've been on some flights where I wrote my wheel out on the microphone, and I tell you what, I flew into Chicago one night, Brother Larry, and I'm telling you what, I was sitting on one of them little belly, what are they called, puddle jumpers? I mean, a belly plane. And I was sitting right beside that propeller was right on the outside of my window, and all the devil could tell me it was that propeller was going to come off and, you know, come in and cut me up like that. So I got my little handheld recorder out, and I see George being in one mind and one accord, you know, being holy and everything. And I leave my guitar, you know, I start making a wheel out, hoping that somebody will catch in case I was going to crash. And if you've ever flown into Chicago, it's called the Windy City for a reason. Trust me. Trust me. And I'm telling you what, there's been times, and there's times that when we're flying to Ukraine, we're on the airplane for 14 hours. And let me tell you, there are times when the enemy will try to bring fear. Especially when you are up 37